it wasn't nearly as great as I was hoping it would be or how it was hyped up to be in the trailer. And it's all so needless. So I think that's kind of making me a little bitter about the whole situation.
All right. Hello. Welcome to the HolmFront, where we keep everything objectively subjective. I don't know why my brain just like shut down for a second there, but we're back.
You all right there?
I'm okay. I'm Tyler, your host. To my right, as always, is Mitch, my overly artistic friend. We had a bit of a late night and an early rise, so I think I'm coming back. I'm coming back too. We're okay. Brain's working mostly.
Yeah.
We just saw a movie last night, and it was okay. What did we see?
We saw He-Man, Masters of the Universe, rather. And I guess that's partly why we're a little disheveled, because it came out. We didn't see it that weekend. We had other things going on. I can't remember what now. And then we go to see it like the next weekend, and it's like already getting kicked out of the box office by other smash hits. So this is totally a box office bomb. Everyone pretty much hates it. I guess audience scores are still pretty positive. It's basically like just satisfying to the people who wanted to see it and were really forgiving of it.
Yeah.
And I just find the whole phenomenon kind of weird, because I just don't feel like it's... I mean, I guess you could say it is just like a Marvel movie, but the difference for me, and I think it's a meaningful difference, is that the He-Man standard is so low because it's just like goofy cartoon
Right.
action adventure stuff.
I mean, look at the name.
Yeah.
It's already starting low.
Yeah, and the Skeletor character is so ridiculous. Like, everything is just so absurd. So this is just supposed to be fun. Like, comic books, for all the crap we give them, a lot of those comic book superhero stories are really good. They have some really strong material in there.
They're capable of it. Let's say that.
Well, yeah, there's capable.
Potential there.
So I guess we can be a little harder on them because we know they have the
Sure.
capacity. You have a Dark Knight, you have a Spider-Man 2, you have a Winter Soldier. So you're like, okay, well, these are some great ones. Like, how come they all can't be meeting this standard? So for He-Man, it's like, I don't think the standard should have been that high, but that's what I feel like has happened, is everybody was just like, it's just a Marvel schlock thing and we don't want that anymore. And so now it got, I don't know, now it's a bomb. It's not entirely undeserved, though. Having seen it, it wasn't nearly as great as I was hoping it would be or how it was hyped up to be in the trailer. And it's all so needless, so I think that's kind of making me a little bitter about the whole situation.
Okay. Well, yeah, so let's recap real quick. So the movie, it like takes on this Superman angle, which I don't know how I feel about that particular aspect, because I think it allows too many opportunities for the movie to grind to a halt, and I think that's where a lot of its weakness lies in general.
Yeah.
So the beginning it was a lot of fun, actually. It's He-Man as a child, and he's like going through training and stuff, and then there's this big attack. Pretty standard when it comes to these types of hero's journey stories.
They establish that he's like, a pathetic wimp, and then
Right.
his family gets attacked and everything's destroyed
Seems
by
like
Skeletor.
his father's real like disappointed in him, so when Skeletor does attack, he just gets sent to Earth. His mom opens up a portal and boom, you're in
or
Earth.
the sorceress does, but yeah, same,
That's right,
same
right.
basically.
Uh,
With the sword.
Gets separated from the sword, which he's instructed not to do, and then there's a big portion of the movie where he's just going around looking for the sword. And like, there's some comedic moments.
15 years.
Right.
We skip ahead 15 years then, and he has to find the sword to get back to Eternia and then carry out the rest of the movie.
Which does provide some pretty funny moments, I will say, because like his entire identity is wrapped up in the fact that he's from this other place. It's not Earth,
and that he's a prince,
and that he's looking for his sword. And so they start with like him being on a date, explaining all of this, and I'm like, 15 years, you haven't adjusted to like maybe think that this isn't socially okay on the first date. But because
he's like, so anyways, where are you from?
Right.
Like,
she wants to just leave at that point, which I don't blame her. Like, yeah, this guy's a weirdo. But yeah, so it starts with that, and like, so there's some moments there that are funny, and then like he's constantly at work online looking for his sword, and so that's bringing up constant tension. Like, all that's great, but it goes on too long. It's like it overstays its welcome, because this movie presents itself as like what the cartoon was, and it's all in Eternia, and it's just about He-Man versus Skeletor, and like the battle for Grayskull and stuff. It's like this is plenty of like this is what we're all here for. We know this is a ridiculous idea.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to delve down into like a Superman-esque story. It just has to be He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Like we understand how ridiculous that is, and that's fine. It's a good thing. The one that I want to equate it to, because I thought it was going to be similar in its presentation, at least, was the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves film.
That's a great comparison,
like,
yeah.
That kind of similarly ridiculous concept. Because it's like, how do you adapt something that's made to be moldable into a singular film?
Yeah.
And they did a really good job. They like even presented things that most D&D players would have experienced. Like I knew a lot of D&D players that were like, yeah, I encountered that exact scenario when I was playing D&D. And so with He-Man, I was like, this is already, like, it has a standard that is really moldable because of how ridiculous it, like, we're adapting a movie or a cartoon from the 80s into a film. You can kind of do what you want.
Yeah.
Like, it's just this schlocky villain that's just cackling and mustache twirling if you were able to grow a mustache, and then this like ridiculous hero whose name is He-Man. It's like we just got this muscle-bound blonde kid with a giant sword. Like, yeah, we know what we're getting.
Yeah.
It's so on the nose that you do whatever you want. And for the most part, I think it does succeed on some level with what it's doing, but it tried too hard to pull in all these other elements that it was just kind of like took a while to get started.
Yeah, it's like tripping constantly throughout the whole movie.
On its own material.
Yeah, and it's all unnecessary. So, I mean, before we get too deep into it, we should rate it, and then we should say whether or not we recommend it. So,
yeah.
You have a new inventive rating system that's going to blow all the others out of the water.
Absolutely. I don't think any other standard will be used after we go through this. So we typically use the star system, right? 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5, which is a lot. It's very user friendly, as you explained when we started using it. Really, it's really nice to be able to just like condense it down to something, that simple. Because when you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's the percentage thing, and so anywhere around that 100% range, like it really gets muddied. So I was like, well, let's base it off of this 5-star system, and we'll just make it HolmFront applicable.
Okay.
So at the lowest tier, you have right? Just a all right, which I think is too much credit for some of these films that we've seen. I think,
Actually, yeah, that may need to be adjusted.
It might be like a bleh. I think that might be what we're doing instead. Bleh.
Bleh.
Bleh. That'll be the lowest tier. You see something, you just bleh.
What's next tier up?
So next up to that would be meh.
Meh.
Meh. All right.
All right.
And then right in the middle, we go,
Yeah.
Right?
A nice
I like these monosyllabic terms to really express how I feel about these movies. So, right? That's the middle standard. And then right above that.
So interpretive.
Right? Because it's almost refreshing.
So it's good now.
Yeah, exactly. It's above. It's above. And then right above that, phenomenal. We're going to actually throw in a multi-syllable word.
Because at that point, we've evolved.
Absolutely. We've come forth from our ape-like standard here.
All right, so I give it 2 stars. What are you going to give it?
Okay, so we got a meh. I think a meh is perfectly acceptable for this film.
Yeah.
Meh.
That sounds a little meaner than I think it deserved in some respects.
Sure.
It's really a weird beast because the film, like the things that are working, like I don't want to make it seem like the things that are working weren't. Like everything that is working is. And that stuff's enjoyable.
And the stuff that's
funny.
not working isn't so egregious that it's like...
No, it doesn't make you hate it.
Yeah.
But what it does is it creates constant tonal whiplash. There's like 2 different styles of humor that they're doing throughout the movie. One of them works, the other does not. And then they don't let it go. The one that doesn't work, they just keep going back to do it. And
like a
there's
poorly told joke that they just keep having to reference. It's like, that wasn't a great joke to begin with, man. Just let it go. Just drop it.
Yeah, and they can't seem to just let go and recognize that like this is slowing it down because they'll be like, we have to stop to make this joke land, right? And it'll interrupt like the tension in an action scene or the drama in an emotional scene. They doing it constantly. It's not to the point where you can't get the raw emotional thing that they wanted you to get, but it's just always there. And when it happened at the end with the final conflict, that's when it moved down to a 2-star for me. I was like, come on, just like let it go. Like this isn't that funny of a joke. Like it was okay, but I just kind of want to enjoy He-Man beating the crap out of Skeletor. Like that was the standard, and I just feel like we can just do that. It's okay. Like it's not. I mean, because they knew it, right? Like they make this joke early on where he's like, "Why does Skeletor want to do this stuff? I mean, just like why?" And she's like, "He's a bad guy
because he's bad or whatever."
Because he's bad, yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, but why?" And she's like, "He has a skeleton for a face." Like, what do you want? And that was like, that's what it should have been throughout the whole movie. Is like, I'm not going to give you a deeper answer. This is He-Man. It doesn't require one. So forget all that. Now back to the next exciting encounter we can have with our characters and see them get into danger and stuff. So I just don't know why they didn't just ride that wave the whole time.
Yeah, that's fair because it's on the nose. And we all knew it was on the nose, and the movie knows that it's on the nose. So just play it like it's on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are you talking about the moment where he comes in and he was like, "Does your family just not love you?" Or whatever the line is that he said was like...
Yeah, well, like, to avoid spoilers, there's one earlier on where Skeletor attacks Eternia. It's his introduction scene. He, like, captures Adam is the main character, He-Man's father or whatever. And then he has the moment where he goes, ah, ha, 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 and he does, the typical
the laugh.
The villain laugh. And I'm like, that's great. And I was just loving the villain laugh. Like, just villain laugh it up and let's just go to the next scene. Instead, they had to stop and he had to look around and be like, what? Like, what's the problem? And then everyone's just like, you're doing it again. You're doing that thing that you do. And he's just like, well, it's my villain laugh. I have to do my villain laugh. And it's just like, why do we have to do this? Like, why do you have to talk about it?
Sure.
Just do it. Like, just do the villain laugh and let it be corny as all hell. That's what it's supposed to be.
So what do you think is the distinction between the conversation that Adam had with his, I forget her name, but the love
his childhood
interest,
friend, yeah.
What do you think is the distinction there when he asks, like, why does he do it? And she's like, because he's bad. Because that is as on the nose as him doing the laugh and then acknowledging that it's a villain laugh.
Yeah.
But that one didn't land as well as the other one. What do you think is the distinction there?
Well, one distinction is the fact that one's pertaining to the heroes and the other's pertaining to the villains.
Okay.
So the heroes are allowed to make more jokes in a way.
Because they're talking directly to us.
Yeah, it's like, so the heroes can have their own view of things that is shared with us as an audience member. When the villain does it, he's kind of like lowering the tension and making it seem like there is no real drama. He's just like, oh, like I can play this game too and like laugh it off. And it's like, well, if you're just gonna laugh it off, then it's like we have to have stakes in this story. What was that movie I was watching recently where it was just like it went on for so long and there was just no stakes?
Mandalorian and Grogu.
I think that's that. Yeah, that was. One. That is that one. Yeah, because
it has no stakes at all.
Right,
at
because
any point.
It does like the first mission, and then he goes on a vacation, and so it just like grinds everything to a halt, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm just so deflated.
Right.
And then it has to like ramp itself back up to do the second half of the movie, and then you're like, it was so hard to like emotionally reinvest. So this movie's kind of like that in a way, but it's happening throughout the whole movie for the most part, where you're just like, I'm investing, and then it like undercuts. It's like, don't invest too much, and I'm like, it was okay to invest. Like, I got that it was silly and generic. I wanted it to be silly and generic. That's fine. That's not the issue. So you constantly poking at it to remind me, it's like, I know. Like,
so it was almost like not only was it the villain making the joke, but it was one joke too many about that topic. It was like, you already made this joke.
Yeah.
And you made it from someone with whom we connect. Now you're making it again as if you're not confident enough that one landed, and it's from the source of, well, the one that's supposed to be the source of tension.
Yeah, and I also too, I would add that when the heroes say that, like when she says the line, like, "Well, it's because he's bad," that was actually useful. Like it was funny, but it was a way to communicate to the audience, like Skeletor's just a bad guy. He's just an evil guy. Like there is no depth. There's not going to be depth. So now we
Sure.
know that. Now that we know that, we're able to play the game, right?
It also kind of speaks to her character because maybe she doesn't care to be sympathetic. She's
Yeah.
like, look, it doesn't matter. He did a bad thing. We're just gonna return the favor at this point.
Yeah.
Also, I will say I understand that nothing makes a joke land quite so well as explaining it. And I know that we're explaining the joke here, so I mean I know that we're just improving the movie experience, so I apologize. But
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of jokes throughout.
yeah.
I also felt like too many of the jokes pertained to like the real life elements, which we should talk about because so He-Man's not really from Earth necessarily, but this movie sends him to Earth. Then it jumps 15 years ahead, and he's in a dead end job, kind of doing your average American life. And then he gets his sword back, and then he goes back to Eternia, and then the rest of the movie commences. Everything with him on Earth is just totally irrelevant. It didn't mean anything. It didn't add anything.
Yeah.
It was just some time to tell a few jokes, some of which land. Like it's not like I hated it. I was having fun with some of the stuff that came up there. And I saw the ways in which they were trying to tie it in and connect it. But to me, it just felt like so unnecessary. Like it just goes on for like 40, 45 minutes.
It's way too long.
And we're just
Yeah.
like, can we get to some action? Like, can something happen? Like, can he just get his sword and like start fighting bad guys and then like having a laugh? Like, this doesn't need to be like you're overcomplicating by trying to add all this other stuff. You're doing the thing that you already criticized of. Like, there doesn't need to be depth for the villain. There doesn't
Yeah.
need to be depth for his backstory. Like, he just needs to be going through the process of becoming a hero. That's it.
We were going through it because I looked at this is a rough estimates are $200 million for this film, which is it's an astronomically expensive movie, and it's made back about 65 million. And so I was wondering, well, maybe they had him on Earth for so long because they wanted to reduce costs. Like they don't want to animate everything, to CGI everything for them to be on Eternia or whatever. But you made an excellent point there. You're like, well, at that point, just shorten it then, because
Yeah,
it
just
is
get
too
rid of it.
long.
Yeah.
It could have been about 30 minutes shorter, and it would have been totally fine. You wouldn't have lost anything
Mhm.
of worth, namely all the Earth stuff. And I was like, well, does it originally happen that he goes to Earth, that he's sent to Earth and has to come back? Because I was like, this feels really Clark Kentish. It doesn't feel like a He-Man thing.
Right.
And apparently, no, this is not something original. His mother is from Earth, and it seemed like the original story is that she crash lands on Eternia and then births He-Man. I was like, well, that sounds kind of awesome. I would have rather seen that story, really, than see this one of him like being sent back. I just wasn't that interested in that particular aspect because it didn't have anything to do with the story as it was told. I was like, look, I just want to see He-Man fight Skeletor. Like, and I know that's oversimplification. Like, I want to see him fight his forces and stuff, but like,
Yeah, and
this-
like join the rebels
Right.
and figure and like
just
learn
good
to
and
be
evil.
He-Man.
Like, why? What's all this slop that has nothing to do with it?
Yeah, because it basically pauses the narrative. You find the
Right.
backstory, then he gets sent away, then we jump 15 years ahead, and then we spend like just so long mucking about on Earth
And
with nothing to do.
They really wanted to harp on the fact that he's incompetent, he's not good with girls, like he's weakling still.
Mhm.
And I was like, you already showed me that as a kid. I don't really need to see him go through 30 minutes of the same thing in order to
Right.
like buy his transformation later. And so it just felt, I don't want to say incompetent. It felt like they weren't confident enough
Mm.
in this development that they really had to make sure you understood. And I was like, I got it in the first 10 minutes, man. Like, move on. So that part sucked, unfortunately. And you're right. You could just cut that out. You're not missing anything. You could probably just show up to this movie.
Yeah.
See the first, like, whatever that is, 5 minutes. And then when he gets sent back to Earth, you could probably go grab your popcorn or something. And then you can come back in and you won't have missed anything at all.
Yeah, they do bring it up at the end to like tie it together, like some of the things that he was learning in like HR that was really obnoxious.
But
did
you don't
have a
see him
meaning.
utilize any of that while he's in HR.
No.
So it doesn't help.
Yeah, I mean, I see where they were trying to do where he stops like the fight with Skeletor at the end and he's just like, well, let's just talk it out, which is like funny. But
Right.
again, I was just like time and place. Like if Skeletor's on screen, it can still be funny, but like the priority has to be its serious villain time. And so things get kind of serious whenever he's on screen, or as serious as they can be with how ridiculous he is as a character.
Yeah.
And just let him do his, like, mad cackle or whatever, and just be evil for the sake of evil. And then when you come back to the main characters, then it's like that's when you have more leeway with what you can do. So, like, when you're doing the whole, like, pointing out the HR thing or whatever, I'm like, it's not that it doesn't make sense in the narrative they constructed. It's just so unnecessary. It's just providing all this added depth that nobody cares about or needs.
The one joke that I thought really landed in that vein was actually something that didn't happen in the movie. It was in the credits.
Yeah.
And he was doing a presentation, and on his little whiteboard, it shows villain, monologue, heroes, dialogue.
Yeah.
It's like these are the distinctions here. If he's monologuing, probably bad. If they're dialoguing, probably good. I was like, that was funnier than anything that happened in the movie. Like, that was good.
Yeah, that was the funniest part of the whole movie. I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
I didn't think of it that way. And that finally then solidified what they were doing with that whole arc for me. I was like, why do we have this?
Movie. That's the problem.
Yeah, so strange.
So let's address a quick controversy then.
Okay.
Because I this is the only thing I've heard about this film until we went in to watch it. I was like, did you like it? And people were like, yes, but this one thing. And I heard it repeated. So I was like, man, it must be really egregious. But when I watched it, I was like, okay. And that is the casting for Skeletor. We have Jared Leto playing the voice, which you probably don't even remember because it doesn't sound like him at all.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think it was egregious as a casting choice?
No, I thought he was great. I thought he was fine.
Yeah, agreed. This is from someone who typically does not like Jared Leto. I was like, this is great. He did a fantastic job.
Yeah, he was perfect.
I don't know what's wrong.
Like, he didn't have the obnoxious voice that he has from the cartoon, but, like, let's be real.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you can't bring that voice in.
Please.
He-Man. We can't do that for 2 hours. That's going to drive us up the wall. So he did a kind of a deeper one, but it was still, like, generic villain stuff, which is exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
I don't know what people's problems with it is.
I don't either.
It's so odd to me. I'm like, he's fine. Like, it could have been done by someone else. Probably would have been the same way.
Well, yeah, because that was what the concession stand lady said too. We were like, have you seen it? And she goes, no, I hear that Jared Leto does a bad job or whatever. I was like, what is everyone's problem with this? Like, that was probably the best part of the movie, honestly. I was fine with him. I think the one casting choice I didn't like was Alison Brie, unfortunately.
Who was she?
She was the bad sorceress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the evil lady with the staff.
I don't think she was in it enough for me to care.
Fair.
But the one I didn't like was the voice for the tiger.
Oh, yeah. He was also
he
poorly
was just
done.
Like, bleh. He just had no vigor or passion. He was just like, I'm here, a tiger. He's barely in it, though. Just like barely. So that I can give it a pass.
What did you think worked best in this film, aside from Leto?
Well, let me just say that the rest of the cast, aside of those couple, is great. Jared Leto's great. The lead guy is awesome. He did fantastic. He was a great He-Man.
Yes, he was.
And then what's her name playing his love interest / like teammate or whatever? She was awesome too. She did great. I didn't have any problems with her. Idris Elba, he
brought
really,
his gay game.
Yeah.
He did awesome.
He was having a lot of fun out there.
It's so funny because like his class of acting is so much higher than this film.
Yeah,
I was like, this, you do not belong, man. This is so low on your tier. But what it looked like happened is that he probably, this is total speculation, but he probably grew up loving these cartoons, is my guess. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you guys are making a He-Man movie? Count me in. Like, that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that energy comes through on screen. Mm-hmm. And every time he was on, like, it was great. It was all fantastic. But it was so funny to see Idris Elba. I was like, you're someone who could easily play, like, the next James Bond.
Oh, yeah.
But you're here.
That. Yeah.
It's just, it was interesting.
Well, he could play all sorts of stuff. Yeah. I also found it interesting that his character, I don't know that the script did him any favors, but I felt like he just took the script, overcame it, and just brought everything to making, he brought, like, all the gravitas and just the right amount of substance that character needs in order for there to be heart and meaning without it just overwhelming, like, just the fun factor of the movie.
Agreed.
So, yeah, he was excellent. Yeah, I mean, some of the other ancillary characters, I'm just like, take it or leave it. I don't have strong feelings about them. But the main cast, the one you spend the majority of the time with in the movie, I thought were all great. So that was definitely not an issue. Okay, so what was your question, though? Other aspects that I liked? Is that...
Yeah, what did you think worked best for this film?
Okay, I liked the action and I liked the visuals, which sounds simple, but that's what I went to the theater to see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whenever that kicked in, it was great and it was a lot of fun. I mean, the way He-Man fights, like there's a little bit of comedy in the fight scenes, which I liked seeing, where he's like he has I'll just do one. He's fighting all these different weird looking demon things. One of them is kind of like a porcupine. And so he takes this bad guy and he shoves him onto the spikes of the porcupine guy, and then he punches him.
Yeah.
And the guy flips around, and then he punches that guy, and then he flips back and punches him.
That's right. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb, but it was just like, it was such a scrappy kind of like meat and potatoes, just roughhousing fighting.
It was one of those like
great.
classic, like slapstick comedy type things.
Yeah, a little bit of that in there. That was nice. And I never felt like the fights were too long or too short. They were just the right amount. All the action choreography was great. So all of that was just good old-fashioned action cartoon fun.
Agreed.
And I was here for that. I thought they nailed that part of it. So, I mean, if you're just looking for that and you're just indifferent to everything else, I mean, you're in for a good time.
I agree. I'd have to say, besides the Skeletor thing, because I actually was a big fan of the Skeletor casting and his character. I thought he's great. Would probably be He-Man himself. I thought whoever they cast for that, I don't know his name, but he did a great job. Specifically with the dichotomy of like this kind of not cowardly figure, but real meek kind of figure, and then moving into that like He-Man-esque figure. I thought he did both roles really well. The aesthetics were hilarious because they kind of like flatten his hair whenever he's in like the HR mode, but then when he turns into He-Man, it's like wavy, and curly. It's like he looks a little bit more like surfer dude type of thing, like a lot more attractive but like, and then I don't know what they did exactly. I think they use like a bodysuit because he's all like jacked up, but then they like cover him up whenever he's in HR mode. So he's got his long sleeve shirt on. And
I think it's just the shirts and stuff. They're just covering him up.
Maybe he's not quite. I don't know. I'd have to look at exact because
they never really showed us his body as
true.
Just regular Adam. It's
right.
only when he's He-Man, that's when you see the full.
That part was hilarious because when he first changes over, all of his clothes got like blown off or whatever, and then it like CGI's him like blowing up.
Yeah, he's just like his muscles inflate. Oh, the power!
It looks like SpongeBob with his blow up his anchor arms.
Oh yeah,
it was so funny. Yeah, like those moments, those are great. That was what we get to see because I was like, this is the He-Man that I thought I was getting. These are the moments, those like totally ridiculous moments of just overly testosteronic. I don't know if that's a word, but moments where he's just like facing down the bad guys and kicking butt. It's like, okay, these are the good ones. It was that first bit that we had to get over that hump, but eventually we got there. Which I will say, we did eventually get there. And like there's a lot of heart in this movie, and that is what we went to see in the first place. That is there. And so on a whole, I think I could say yes, I would recommend this film. Like I would go watch it again. It's fun. There's not enough in there to like make it. It's not an exhausting slog fest like a Mandalorian and Grogu. Like it actually is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think I would see it again if like people wanted to go see it and I was like invited out and they wanted me to go. Like I'd see it, but I would never. It's not like, oh yeah, I want to see this movie again. Kind of thing. Too many of it's kind of like, it's like literally half and half. I liked half this movie and then the other half I didn't like at all. So it's kind of like the parts I really liked I'm attached to, and the other they're constantly fighting each other because the film had to do both. I like what you said about He-Man though. I thought they did a nice job of making his character one that was like a nice balance, like because he's kind of like he's a big softy basically, and that works nice. It makes him very lovable. It makes you really care about him.
Sure.
And he's not a loser though, right? It's just like he's attached to what his destiny is.
He's like
He's gotta
overly
fulfill that.
loyal. He's like kind of like a dog almost. It's just like
Yeah.
he knows what he loves and he's going for it. It doesn't matter what. And that is something I liked about that characterization. Like when even when he's on a date, he can't shut up long enough in order to make this work. He has to say where he's from and what who he is, because that's like his identity.
Right, because that's the honest thing to say. And it's like, you shouldn't do that because she's just going to take it the wrong way. But he is being honest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is just part of his character. So that came through. It just was like, all right, he can be a little bit wise, right? Like, there could be some wisdom from being on Earth for this amount of time that could have shown through eventually. But
yeah, I felt like they kind of made him, I don't know, in the midsection of the movie, I wish they'd done a little bit more. So there was one instance where he gets locked up in a jail cell and there's this robot in there that's just like sweeping, I guess. And he convinces the robot to join their side to like fight with them. And this is at a point when he hasn't become He-Man yet. So, the characters, he's with the rebellion, but they, lock him up because they're like, well, this is just some random moron from Earth, from another planet. Like, who cares about him? Like, he's not the prince. So He-Man has to prove himself to these people, right? And so when he got this like robot person on their side, I thought what they were going to do is have him slowly win people over with his like charm and integrity, so that even if he wasn't like the best, people would be like, he's like, I can't resist like the fact that he's just cares about everybody and his perspective. I thought they were going to do like a Wonder Woman thing, right? She's a fish out of water and she just sees the good in everybody. And it's like, well, this is a world, there's a lot of evil people, and she's having a hard time coming to terms with that. But everybody's sort of rallying behind her because they're like, well, it's so inspiring seeing her just like see the best in us, and we're like, we don't deserve that. And so we feel bad because like we feel like we got to rise to the standard she's holding for us. So I thought they were going to do something like that, but then that doesn't happen. And it's just like, eventually they side with him. He makes a speech kind of, and he's sort of, I guess, supposed to be pulling on the kind of stuff he learns from Earth, like the masculine man of today who's like uses his words and this kind of thing. But he's not really that good with his words, for one.
Yeah.
And then for another, it's sort of like, if you're going to establish that contrast, I almost feel like it would be better if he just had this huge display of being He-Man that everybody was like, oh my gosh, he's just this like powerful leader, so we got to follow him for that. And then he's trying to get them to see like the language part of it and like the discourse and settle this without violence.
Sure.
But they don't see that. They're just like, yeah, we'll do that. And then you'll beat him up, right? And then they'll just be like one track mind. I thought they were going to do something like that, and that would be the arc of like him getting the rebellion to work for him, even though it's like he can see it on a deeper, more important level, more advanced level, I guess you could say, more civilized way, but they can't do that. And so there would be natural humor, but then it wouldn't disrupt the story. So if, again, it's like, instead it's like, well, let's just, he makes a joke about how he's, from Earth or whatever, and he shows them his ID card to prove he is who he is. I'm like, how is that going to prove?
Right. They don't know what that is.
Yeah. And like, you would know that. Like, you're not that dumb. Like, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. I want to like...
It's a hard one.
It is, because there's too much mediocrity, but there's also enough heart in there to be like, well, how come this made it through? Like, it feels like a lot of it is competent enough that the people making it would have known that this wasn't it, and they should have chopped it out.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird contrast. But I also, like it doesn't provide a whole lot more to say, because I think it's just a fun film. Like, it's a summer blockbuster, and I think you should go see it for what it's worth. Mm-hmm. And it might be fun if this is like a stepping block for those who made it to learn from their mistakes and then potentially be able to make more, either in this universe or another that is equally fun. Because I do equate it, like, it's still in kind of that same vein of Honor Among Thieves, even though it's not quite as good.
Yeah.
Like Dungeons and Dragons, that film it's a great film. It's one that I could easily watch over and over, and it wouldn't get old.
He-Man, it's just so much fun.
He-Man, I think, would get old after a while. It was just like, there's not enough here to keep going.
It's like, I got to sit through this scene again. And then this, the Earth sequence. All right, come on, speed it up.
The scenes where you grind to a halt. Just keep him in Eternia, guys. There's nothing here that we want to see.
Yeah, and I guess that's really the comparison, because, again, the things the things that it aspires to be is very simple.
Yeah.
But even executing simple is a challenge because you have to make very careful choices about what not to do. And I think
You
they
have to
weren't.
figure out how to communicate that effectively without shoving it down someone's throat.
Yeah.
It's like, how much is enough? How much is too much?
Right.
And some of this went too much.
Yeah, I think that the comparison you're making is perfect, though. Just Honor Among Thieves. If
Oh.
you've seen that movie, like that should have been their template for He-Man. I'd have been like, let's just make that kind of movie.
Yep.
Because that one has the tongue-in-cheek
Yeah.
humor as well, right? Like,
Well, it has to. It has to acknowledge the meta aspects that Dungeons and Dragons would have.
right.
And so that was their excuse. He-Man would just be in its ridiculousness as a format in general. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, like, all right, we're pretty much got a blank slate on what
Mhm.
kind of jokes we can make. For the Dungeons and Dragons one, they left enough of a layer to where you could insert a character that you would have created, but also had characters you could follow. Because you can't make
Yeah.
it too vague to where like it's too interpretive. Like you have to have some kind of narrative going on.
Mhm.
So there's enough there where anybody could relate to, and it's a simple storyline, like simple aspects that people are chasing down of the human condition. But there's enough there also that we can self-insert in some level, like
Yeah.
even to the point where they had a paladin character who just at some point just leaves the party because it's like that does two things. One, it provides a really hilarious moment where he just walks off, and it's like acknowledging that trope in films that they do that.
Yeah,
he's
I
walking
can't be with
straight-
you anymore.
Right.
Why?
But it also is like acknowledging this trope from Dungeons and Dragons. I have not played, but I understand this to be a trope that paladins tend to be really OP. And so it's like, we can't have him here because
Yeah.
he'll just win. So we've got to remove him from the party to keep the tension.
Yeah.
And so it like, yeah, you're just like, why he could have stayed and helped. And it's like, that's the point. So we're going to remove him from this equation. This movie
Yeah.
doesn't quite have that element. I don't think they nailed the formula, unfortunately, for He-Man.
Mhm.
And so it wasn't quite as toned in. Like Dungeons and Dragons there's no fat on it. Like they nailed that formula
Yeah.
and they got that balance perfect.
Yeah, and with this one, it's like it was too indulgent and it was too inefficient. That was
Inefficient. That's a good word.
That was running through my head throughout the first half of the movie. I was like, a lot of these scenes are just way too inefficient. You're taking too long. You're thinking that it's more interesting and more meaningful or funny or whatever it is.
Or that
actually
they're not
it is.
getting their point across with the few bits
Or-
that they needed.
Yeah, something to that extent. And they couldn't really decipher. Like the scene where he gets the sword out of the statue guy at the game store or whatever, that was fine. I didn't have a problem with how long that took because I understood there was like a funny moment building here is that he's trying to get his sword. It should be an easy thing to do, but he's kind of not really He-Man, so it's not working.
The fake muscular statue is beating him. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Funny.
fake. Yeah, exactly. He's listening to the plastic statue.
Yeah, that's funny.
So yeah, like spending a little time with that, I thought was fine. But then, like the scene prior to that, where he's like asking people, like, because like someone calls him, like, "I have your sword," and he's like, "Oh, wow, how am I gonna know it's you?" And he's like, "You'll know." And so then he hangs up. And he's like, "Well, I don't know." So then he goes up to someone. He's like, "Are you the guy?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Ah, all right. You see, you got my sword." No.
So you're not the guy.
Oh, you're not the guy. So that one was funny, but then he goes through like 4 more people.
Yeah.
And not all of them were funny. And it was just like, we don't need all of this. The one joke was fine.
You got it.
Let it rest. Let's move on.
Yep.
Or like when the monster creature attacks him on Earth, like that fight scene was just like, it was just so elongated. I'm like, just speed this up, guys. Like this isn't, you don't need all this. It's like, oh, he checked. Is he still in the car? Oh, look, he's not in the car anymore. Where did he go? And it's just like, come on, like, come on, like, inject some energy into this.
Please get some motion, forward momentum, guys. Yeah, and it just took a while to get moving. It's like the old cartoons. I mean, this is real meta, so I mean, maybe this is what they're going for, though. It's like the Flintstones when you know how when they like spin their feet real fast and it takes a while to actually take off. That's what this movie does.
That's a great analogy. Yeah.
So on some level, they're acknowledging their source material.
Yeah, I guess we could leave it there. That's a great point. It's a very mixed bag. It's worth
is.
seeing, especially if you just need to get out of the house this summer. Then
Yeah.
go. I think people are being way too hard on it, but I understand why. There are elements that bring it down, but then there's the strengths, and so you're like, you got to take it. You got to take the whole thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does exist as it is, and so
Yeah.
what do you do? Hopefully, they improve and they learn from their mistakes.
I do hope they get a sequel, but since this is a huge bomb, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't look promising at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But let us know what you guys thought, if you liked it, if you saw it, and where you throw that rating. Remember, meh, and phenomenal. You let us know.
Yes.
Anyway,
That's going to stick, I can tell.
it will. It will. I'll have signs. In fact, we can get like little placards. Like, what'd you rate it? And then you can raise it up. And then you have to reference. I have to have another plaque back here referencing
A
where
legend.
it is, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyway, let us know what you guys thought. Thank you for watching. So you made it to the end of the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought.